Hi, how are you doing? Hope you are well and safe and having a great day. I'm having a great day because it's a bit cloudier today. The sun's disappeared and I just don't like the bright sunshine. I just get too hot, man. And I'm really enjoying the cooler weather at the minute because it's still warm, isn't it? So what have I been doing? I thought it'd be nice to look at the perspective tool in Rebelle 4 because it's a bit tricky to get to grips with if you haven't used it before. So I thought I would do this little very simple ink and wash sketch, watercolour wash sketch of some beach huts, and I use a perspective tool to lay out the actual buildings and make sure I got the lines more or less in the right place. So the first half of the video looks just at the perspective tool and how to use that, and a little introduction to perspective if you're not really too sure what it's all about. And the second half of the video is all about how to use ink and wash in a style where you use the wash to add all of the tonal contrast and you just use the ink for the detail. So let's get straight into the video. So what I want to talk about today is perspective, and I'm going to show you the perspective tool in Rebelle. If I press Shift P, there we go, we get the perspective tool up, and we have 1 point perspective with one little vanishing point, 2 point perspective, and 3 point perspective. I'm not even going to touch on 3 point. I'm going to talk about 1 point and 2 point. And this looks really complicated. What do I do with this? How does this work? Well, I'm going to take this little this photograph of these beach huts and show you how you can use the perspective tool in Rebelle to set that up. Okay, but before I do that, I think you need to understand a little bit about perspective before you can use this tool. Hopefully it'll make it a lot clearer. So to get this perspective tool, look, like I say, you can press Shift P, that'll make it disappear, or you can go to Edit and choose it from the drop down list there, perspective tool. So I'm just going to hide that, and let's just zoom in onto our page. I'll just shrink this for a second, I don't need that. Yeah, let's just put it there like that. So first of all, 1 point perspective. What is 1 point perspective? Well, that's where you have one vanishing point, and that would be imagine your horizon line there like that. If I was to stand directly in front of that, put me in there, okay, everything above the horizon line will vanish or appear to go up like that, and anything below it goes down like that. So I could draw a pavement in there. I'd be standing on a pavement, or I could be standing on some slabs. Everything goes to that vanishing point, okay? So this is pretty straightforward, easy to understand. This building could go like that. Probably not quite as wobbly as that. And likewise this side, okay? And then we could have more vanishing points, or draw more lines into the vanishing point. Not more vanishing points, sorry. Draw more lines in like that. And we can pop windows in, for example, like that, or a door even. Okay, got the idea? So that is 1 point perspective. If you're sort of looking at something straight on. Now, if I open up our reference image, this is 2 point perspective, because if I just sketch very quickly sketch out one of the huts like that, and take that line like that, and that line like that, then bottom like that, still going down. If I can shrink this a bit more, getting a bit tight. Let's make it there, just so I can get to a vanishing point. That's it. Put these lines out, don't want to confuse you. So this is a 2 point vanishing point, and one will be, imagine the huts there. Well, actually it's here, and one will be here, because the vanishing point, the 2 points are going to be horizontal, and I'm actually standing lower than the huts, so they converge down there. So that would be a vanishing point as well there. So that's your 2 point vanishing points. I hope that kind of makes sense. If I just change the colour, we've got that line there, and this line like that. That's your 2 points. Okay, so how do we use, let's just get rid of that now. How do we use this, the vanishing point tool? Just shrink my reference a bit. So Shift P, get that up there, and basically if I put, what I'm going to do, let's just switch it off again. I'm going to try and place, imagine that's the huts, look, this point here, I'm going to put the cursor to there and try and create those 2 lines. Okay, so let's switch it on again, Control or Shift P, and if I do that, you can see straight away that the top of the buildings is way too angled, so I need to move that point out. Now if I move it there, it's still too steep, way too steep. Well, first of all, before I do that, you know what, I should really decide where I'm going to put my horizon. That's the first thing to do. Does it go here? Does it go there? Where am I going to put it? Well, if I look at my photo, I think about halfway is about right. I move that halfway. There we go. That's in the right place. I've got 2 point perspective set. I just move it out of the way. And now you can see it's I'm looking at this line here. So I need to move this right out of the way. And I'm thinking, is that too steep? Maybe. So I'm just going to move that off the page a bit. That looks about right for that line. So I could actually draw that line in now, look. There we go. But this one's way too steep. So if I move this vanishing point off the screen, maybe even twice, still looks a bit steep to me. That looks about right. I'm thinking if I zoom in now, I was to draw that line in, Is that about, that's, I think that's, might be a bit shallow actually. So I'm just going to bring it back in a little bit. I've discovered if I was to use Control Z to also to undo the last move, it would undo the vanishing point as well. So that looks pretty good. So another thing I should show you on this. We've got really neat lines, you know, like you've drawn them with a ruler. Let's just rub that one out again to put that in a bit neater. They look like you've drawn them with a ruler. If you put freehand in, or select this freehand on the perspective tool, I can now put in this bottom line like this. Look at that. You can make it a little bit wobblier, make it look a bit more natural and less mechanical. Well, I'm using this as a guideline that once I've set it up, I'm going to draw over it with ink. So I'm going to switch the freehand off. See what happens. See what when I did the Control Z, it switched the freehand back on. So you've got to be aware of that. And that line, which is the bottom of the huts, you can see on the drawing it's clearly still slanting down, and I think I've got it too high. I think I need to maybe put it there. Get rid of this one. That's it. Not much, but it is a little bit. I can lock these as well, by the way. I can lock these control points so I can't move them. And at this point, now I need to think about the vertical lines for the huts. So I am going to put, let's see. That looks about right for one hut. Let's put it in the middle. Make that little point there. Now, put this. I'm just going to press Shift P and switch off the perspective tool so I can draw in my pitch, switch it back on again, and I can draw. Whoops. That's another thing. You've got to be careful that you actually going in the right direction. So that is going to be the top of all of the buildings. So I can now split that up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Roughly find a middle for each one. Then I can switch the perspective tool off. I take my eraser, get rid of all of this. Now you can see, now I've done that, We've got the, if we look at the reference image, if we just enlarge it a bit, if we look at the reference image, we've got these lines here. Well, they follow the same perspective as this line. So, or the same vanishing point. So I can press Shift P again, switch my perspective back on and draw these lines in. So I can now draw that one in, that one, and that one. And that one you'll see pretty much just disappears, so you're not going to see it. So that's how you use the perspective tool to set up the drawing, and I've got my initial perspective bit done. If I pull the paper down, I can see I could probably move the whole thing up a bit actually. In fact, my perspective line wasn't exactly halfway, was it? So I could move the whole thing up. Press Shift P to switch the perspective off. Oh, I should actually, before I do, let's switch it back on. Let's get the doors in and all of that stuff. I'm nowhere near finished, am I? If I put this here and I move this out the way, pull this a bit bigger, zoom in. Just want to think about the doors. So I can draw a, I've got this line there. Don't take your pen off like I was doing then. You can help it. That's the fascia. And we've got the doors and the windows. They're like that. So it does make it really easy. Then I can put, well, I've got the post in there. Let's put these posts in. Put the door in there. Windows, probably like that. Every time I do an horizontal, I should, well, it's not exactly horizontal, is it? But every time I do a line that's going across the page, I should put the old thing in. And it's just a matter of sort of, these are all going to be the same, aren't they? We've got a post down the middle there, put them in. And then these are split with more posts, like that. It does mean you're getting nice verticals. Oops, I don't know what I was doing with that one. Let's just undo that. I was losing the plot a bit. I'm not even going to look at the rest of the windows. I'm assuming they're all the same. Yeah, they've got different coloured doors and different style doors. They're all double doors actually. Some of them are painted white, some of them are painted blue. Oops. Doesn't really matter, does it? I'll just move that back out of the way again. Take out the lines you don't want. In fact, when you're erasing, switch your perspective tool off, because it will, as soon as you touch the paper, it will try and follow the perspective lines. So it could get a bit confusing. Well, what happens is it erases along the perspective line and you're trying to erase something, but it's not following the same line that you're trying to erase. Very frustrating. Right, that's the perspective drawing done. Now I want to do the pen and ink. So first thing I'm going to do is move this up a little bit to about there, I think. Yeah, that's looking good. Yeah, okay. And I am going to create a new layer. I'm going to lock layer 1 so I don't draw on it by mistake. And this is the reason I drew in red ink, was so that when I choose my pen, I can have black ink and go over the top. And I don't have to worry about it being getting the red getting in the way. I'm going to zoom in on this a bit so I can see what detail I want. So I'm going to put these other bits in, this stone wall and stuff, but obviously I didn't need to draw that in perspective, to be honest. So right, here we go. Let's get the ink, get to black, get my pen. I'm on layer 2. Size is a bit big. Don't like that. I've got to find the right brush. That was the dip pen. I maybe just had it too big. Get some of the water out. Yeah, that's nice. Now the idea of this pen and ink, this is the second part of the video, is that I'm not going to do shading with the pen and ink. All I'm going to do is detail, as it were. And now you can see I'm getting the nice wobbly lines that are my shaky hand is able to achieve. Take some of this out. There we go. So these are all going to be coloured in. I've gone too far with that, haven't I? Because I did say I was going to put in all this other detail, all this other stuff. Oh, and then we've got these curvy bits as well, like that. There we go. My original line work, the vertical lines, I didn't really kind of measure them out properly. So I'm just going to change them up a bit. Just a bit. You can see it. Look at this. Look at the fascia in. Just take some of them lines out a bit. I'm getting thin lines with pressure, a little pressure I should say, and thick lines by adding to it a bit. Tidy that up a bit there. Seem to have got a bit of a smudge going off there. I don't like that. Tidy that up a bit as well. Yeah. If I turn the layer off, you can see how it's shaping up. Oh, I created a new layer then. I didn't mean to do that. Let's just delete that. Get back to that one. Another set of doors going there. Another set of doors going there like that. Windows as well. So it's really easy now, look, to place windows in. Although a lot of them are just obscured by the by this wall. So let's start putting that in. For this, I'm going to turn off my perspective layer and just think about where they're going. There we go. Now you've got to remember that I'm not putting in any shadows or just detail. That's all I'm really thinking about. Just get rid of that. Some of this and that and that. squiggly lines. Look for these flowers here, this bush here. I do like a bit of squiggly line when I'm doing pen and ink. So that comes right across to the third one. Okay. So I can rub all of this out. Like that. A few more. There we go. Let's turn the perspective tool back on again. Curves in. Just feel a bit weird working over these lines because I'm not seeing the old drawing at once. And if you follow me regularly, you know I kind of usually work on so I can see the all of the painting when I'm drawing sort of the initial lines, and only zoom in. Very rarely actually do I zoom in at all. So I've got a door there, I know that. Window. Door there. Window. The window. And then I've got a couple like that right at the end. So this is the end actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that last one we can kind of lose. Oh, I can't rub out. I'm not on that layer. Never mind. I just sort of put in some squiggly lines there like that. And more bush. Turn off the guidelines again. I think I've done with them now really. So I don't need that last building in. There's only the first three that are actually coloured in with these Tudor light beams. Got a little bit of a wall in there. A few bits of grass. And this just sort of takes your eye up to that. So how much detail do I put in these windows and doors? I don't know. I'm not a big one for detail. Something like that. Don't draw boxes for the window panes. Just a few squiggles, see? I could put my, I've kept in with perspective pretty well, that's good. Kind of got that mixed up, haven't I? This. That's not the door. That's not the door. I haven't mixed it up at all. See what I'm doing for the windows? Just little marks, really. I'll do. Turn the layer one off. What I'm going to do now is select everything again. Just move it all off over to the center. It's in the centered on the page. Oops. Brush. Go. And now just the wash. Just got to put the wash on it, and then we've got a finished little beach hut scene. So I need to create a new layer, but this layer is going to go. I'm just going to label these. So this is perspective. This one is the ink. And this one is going to be the wash. I believe that's right. Have I got it right way around? Yeah. Ink, yeah. So I want the wash underneath the ink. There we go. Because I don't want it to hide the ink drawing at all. If we start with the sky, I'll show you a few things that I've discovered about these brushes. I'm going in with the filbert dry. Reasonable amount of more water, about 60% water. Opacity is 96%. And I've got this set to transparent. Okay, I'll leave it at transparent, even though it's not actually being painted over anything else. And I want a blue. This just very quickly, this gouache fan liner works really well for this. Look at that. Texture that you're getting on there for a nice bright blue sky. And then you can use your eraser just to sort of clean it up a bit if you want. I might use that actually. It's pretty. I like that bold colour. And if I press lightly, I'm just wondering, because I've got lots of water in this, Is it going to bleed? I've discovered if you press lightly, it adds more water than paint. I'm just wondering how that's going to diffuse. It is. Look how it's adding the water into just there, softening that up. I guess you could get it to, if I move that down a bit, I guess you could get it to run as well. Not that I particularly want to. So, you know what? I'm changing my mind. I'm going to use this gouache brush instead. I mean, I've overdone that, but see what I'm saying about light pressure adds water, heavy pressure adds more paint. And that's flowing into the water now, look. Really cool. I like that. And I just love the texture of this brush, this sort of fuzzy edge that we get in. That's really, really nice. The next thing I want to do, I think I'm going to, wow, look at all these effects. It's quite scary. Is it going to run down? I don't know. I am now going to go back to the filbert dry brush and choose a grey colour. Put sort of a shadow, put the shadow in. Now I could do this in one or two ways. I could just sort of go in and sort of do that. Which is probably the way I'll do it, and then use the eraser to lift out. So then go in with the, in fact I'll choose the eraser, got more control over it that way. And then just lift out the post, look. There we go. I could use the same brush again. So it's this filbert dry, got lots of water, light pressure. And then that should add a bit more water. Let's see. I can also go in and with the eraser, very thin brush, so I'm using a square bracket, just lift a few of these sort of window panes, not all of them, just a few. Also take that blue off the shrub. There we go. Nice. So I think I'm going to go in, while I'm at it, I'm going to go back to this gouache brush and put in some some grass. So what colour have we got here? That's pretty nice. I like that. I'll make it a bit bigger perhaps. Just sort of change colour and the saturation a bit. Going with the blue green. That's a bit too saturated. That's better. I like how it's just sort of flowing down there, look, and doing its thing. Put some in there for that bush. So, take this out. Go back to the watercolour dry filbert. Choose a ready colour. Change the brush size. And don't paint every brick, just some of them. That's cool. Liking that. I think now I need to go on another layer. Let's I'm going to dry that layer so we don't get any more runs or anything. Look how the colours crept up into that door. It's interesting. Never mind. I'm going to create a new layer now. Still under the ink layer, so this is wash 2. Wash 2. When you're doing watercolours, you've got to do it in washes, really. And you create layer after layer and build the colour up. That's the best way with watercolour. It's the most realistic approach, I think. That filbert brush. Choose a sort of a limey greeny colour. And I've got it translucent, so, or transparent. Let's just check that. Transparent, yeah. So the colours below should glow through. So zoom in on this, let's have a quick look. So if I paint that in, we should see sort of the bits of blue beneath coming in or showing through. Let's some shadows in the dark areas. That's it. Yeah, I think that'll do. This side do the same. Should really be going from light to dark, not the other way around. Let's get some lights in. That's it. I think I could go in with another wash over the shadows in these doors. Well, let's get the doors in first, I suppose. So we've got some nice blue ones. A blue one here. Get that one in. This one's blue as well. I'm going for bold colours. You know, I know it's a watercolour and everything, but I'm feeling the need for really saturated colours. That one in there as well. That's cool. And then we've got these nice. We've got this sort of pink colour that we can paint on here. We've got the yellow. that. Then we've got a turquoise colour. I'm going to go back to the original wash, take the eraser and just sort of lift some of this out. You can do this with watercolour as well. You know, if you're doing a traditional watercolour, you can just get a bit of damp paper, press it on the area where you want to erase the colour and lift the colour out, unless you're using a staining pigment, of course. I'm feeling that I need to get this, where's it gone, this gouache brush, and just bring this down a bit further. I've got the gouache brush. No, I haven't. I've got the wrong brush. Let's undo that. I want this harshness that we're getting. So I want sort of more like that. And don't forget, you can just draw lightly on it and it will add water to the effect. Yeah, I just wanted that just to sort of take you into the picture a little bit more. Could put some lighter clouds over the top. What I'm going to do now, create a new layer. This is layer 4. I'm going to go in with the blue grey again. This time I need the filbert dry brush because I want sharp edges, not ragged ones. And I'm just going to get this over. I might change the blend mode to this one to multiply. There we go. Basically what that does, it darkens all of the underlying layers, so you get more of that shadow. So the first one I went across in that initial shadow I put in one sweep and then use the eraser. This time I'm doing it different. I'm going to paint in each individual bit. Give us a darker shadow. It goes over the blue. See that? It's make it a little bit darker. You might see how it goes over the door. If you do go over the edge, you can just use your eraser to lift that out a little bit. Oops. Maybe a bit. There we go. I could also come in now and just put in a little bit of shadow down there. Let's make this a bit darker. Same layer, so I'm on this multiply layer. Just add a bit of shadow on the doors. Just adds a little bit. So detail with the pen and ink and all of the shadows and everything. The form that goes in with the colour washes. Okay, I'm going to go in with a yellowy colour. These, you know what, I'm going to do it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make a big brush and then just go like that, like that, like that, and then use the eraser again. Lift them out. It's just so much easier to do it that way. I've left a little bit of white as well. And I can see some shadows as well on these reefs. Let's make the brush a bit smaller. Yes. Like that. And just to be really over the top, let's put some down here as well. It just adds depth. So I haven't used any hatching or anything like that. Any sort of drawing techniques to give shade, tone, or anything. I've just used the pen and ink as an outline, and then I've used colour for everything else. So there we are. Look at that little beach scene. Let's get it signed. A simple, very simple, dead easy to do pen and ink, sorry, ink and wash sketch, and using the perspective tool as well to help me set that out. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, big thumbs up as always is much appreciated, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I've got loads of videos like this and I would love to be sharing them all with you. So don't forget, everybody, stay safe, stay sane, keep painting. Hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.